Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reacting to a video from Vice where they had some feminists and anti-feminists kind of all in a room together debating issues such as abortion and trans rights and a lot of heated political topics. So we're just going to take a look at this. I saw a little clip on Twitter and I don't know, it should be a good one. So yeah, let's hop right into it.
How is it sexism when we have no barriers today? So we can pick what we want to pick.
Who doesn't have barriers?
Women don't have barriers?
Women, yeah. What's
We have
stopping
no
you? You can do whatever you
I recognize this girl. She just recently did like a podcast with Andrew Tate, I think. So yeah, just I've seen a lot of clips of her. I think I actually was watching that live. So
want.
I can
you?
or you can?
What's stopping you?
Should we mark this bad boy at all? Oh my goodness.
Oh, here we go.
Hi, welcome everybody. I'm Liz Landers. I'm Vice News' chief political correspondent, and we are here today to talk about some of the biggest issues dividing women across the country. In other words, we're here to talk about feminism. First, I just want to say we know we can't represent everybody's views, but we did try our best to bring together a diverse group of women today. In today's polarized world, is feminism dead? I saw your hand.
I think that depends on the definition of feminism. I strongly think that feminism is more of an action than an identity. I would say it's uplifting all women, in which case it's very alive. At the same time, if we do follow that definition...
guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Answer this question in the comments. Is feminism dead in 2022/2023?
Feminism has splintered off into so many different areas that you can look at people like Sheryl Sandberg who say you should just get another nanny if you feel oppressed. And if we're talking about that kind of feminism, yeah, it's pretty dead.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the human race exists, feminism will never be dead. There's something that we're going to have to strive and work towards to make sure that there's equality. So feminism is not dead.
I don't know that it can die. As long as there's power and oppression, there will be people fighting for equity. And until that somehow goes away, feminism is alive and well.
I think feminism isn't actually about equality. It's about equality when it benefits us. I think feminism is really about women wanting special privileges and treatment.
Okay, I can already look at that. Look at what I paused on. So I can already tell this girl who's speaking right now is going to be somebody who's more of a voice of common sense. I'm already kind of vibing with her.
At the expense of men, often.
Look at her.
I think it's alive and well, sadly.
I think feminism is also alive and well. There are different kinds of feminism, right? Like, that is obvious. And for me, as a womanist, as a Black feminist, right, as someone who's really thinking about human rights, dignity, right, equity, right, as long as that need isn't met, we're still gonna keep fighting.
I'd say it's alive and well. I'd say that it's also very nuanced, and I think what it looks like is going to differ depending on where you are in the world. For me, I just see it as a lens, which isn't necessarily antagonistic or protagonistic. It's just a useful tool.
Similar to what Pearl just said, I find that a lot of feminist ideology and thought today feels more of like a supremacist movement rather than something that is supposed to be advancing the goals of equality. I don't think that we can really term what's going on as feminism because it looks so different to, I think, the earlier feminist movements. So in that way, I would say it's taken its last breaths of life. It's dying.
Yeah, I definitely think it's getting more and more radicalized, for sure. So it's definitely still alive.
I think I'll preface and say that I don't know so much about modern Western...
I'm already getting very big ego vibes from this woman. And I'm still not even like 100% sure where she stands. I'm pretty sure she's a feminist. I can just tell by the way that she's talking that she has a massive ego. So I guess we'll see.
Feminism.
And this is a 43-minute video. Of course, I'm going to be doing some editing, but I don't know if we'll get to watching this whole thing.
And there might be a lot of terms that I don't know, like political jargon and stuff. But I believe in the advancement of women, whoever considers themselves a woman. I think there's a deficiency in society
So it's deeply rooted that feminism has always existed. I think America's a little obsessed with themselves, and it's like always feminism is rooted in America. And like, oh, white women started it. And it's kind of offensive because for thousands of years, women have been dying for their rights.
I think as a Black woman specifically, when you talk about feminism, yeah, the mainstream first thing you think about is a certain type of feminism that tends to exclude still, even today, even with intersectional feminism, exclude African-American women. And it's always kind of done that. And also like, upper middle class white women has predominantly been the face of what we quote unquote consider feminism.
I think feminism is attempting to say, okay, the first thing we agree on is that there are barriers and friction to what I need and what I want based on the fact that I'm a woman. What it ignores is that, and what privilege is that you may not have to think that being a woman and being a Black woman and being a Black woman who has a disability, for example, impacts you further. You have more barriers, you have more friction, you are less able to get what you want. You're undervalued in a way that's like, okay, well, you know, that's life. That's what I mean by equity, and that we're able to, without friction, all get the same needs met.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, see, I disagree with that. I think life is easier if you're a girl, actually.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of benefits that men don't.
Yeah, folks, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I mean, of course, I'm not out here trying to get canceled on this video. I think men do have a lot of responsibilities, and that's not to say that women have no responsibilities. That's not at all what I'm saying, of course. But I don't know, like, there's a lot of things that's expected out of men, such as, you know, providing, and you could look at a lot of other people who kind of speak more on this topic, but I would say that there's more expected out of a man, and that's not me coming on here to try to get canceled, of course. That's not me saying that I hate women, because I know that there's going to be somebody out there misogynist, but yeah. And there's a lot of women who would agree with me on that. But of course, women have their own responsibilities as well. So it's really kind of a complicated topic and issue.
Don't have. I'm not going to speak anything to race. I'm just talking about gender specifically. It's usually like an excuse. Like, honestly, I think as a girl, you have equal opportunity in the world. I think there's benefits. Like, for example, we have quotas for women in specific jobs that are given to us that aren't given to men. So yeah, I would say it's
Yeah, I agree. She's pretty much, for the most part, speaking my mind.
easier being a girl.
Just from a viewpoint over here, though, it seems there's a lot of pretty privilege in what you're saying, and that you're white and you present.
Do you think I'm pretty? Thank you.
I think that you present in a way that beauty standards have accepted. And so
they call me ugly on the internet all the time. They be roasting me daily, I swear to God.
I don't mean to say I think you're gorge. I just mean that there a certain value that we give to certain bodies.
I mean, let's also dig into why these quotas exist and why these, what you're calling
because we
privileges
want
exist.
special treatment.
No, it's because there have historically and presently in most jobs been fewer women and because of sexism.
How is it sexism when we have no barriers today? So we can
Who has no barriers?
It doesn't have barriers.
Women don't have barriers?
Women, yeah. What's
We have
stopping
no-
you?
Yeah, I mean, like, what is stopping you from doing what you want, right? Like, yeah, back in the day, there used to be, like, women can't go to school in America, all this, and that still happens in third world countries. But nowadays, you know, 2022, 2023, if you're a woman and you want to, say, be a doctor or be a lawyer, there's nothing stopping you like there used to be back in the old days, right? Like, I believe, obviously, back in the old days, that was awful how women couldn't go to school and couldn't, like, they're pretty much just told that they had to stay home and cook. And nowadays, women can do a lot more, which I think is awesome. And I don't really think that there is anything stopping you as a woman from achieving your dreams and goals. Not anymore, at least.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I can or you can?
What's stopping you?
Yeah.
As a woman, as a woman.
As a woman.
As a woman, as a
See,
woman.
That ignores a lot that I'm a woman with a disability. So there's a lot stopping me that you don't have to think about.
Well, as I
You don't
said
have to
before, I'm
think about.
speaking about women. I'm not.
You're
I'm
speaking
not,
you're speaking for yourself.
You're speaking as
an able-bodied white woman.
I
that is
understand.
white.
Represents white.
Of course, there's going to be other barriers if you're. Like I'm talking about as a woman.
So you're
I
just
would
going to
agree.
ignore
White
the
women
pay
have it
gap.
easier, yes. I would agree.
What?
You're just going to ignore the pay gap, regulation over bodies.
Pay gap has been disproven and
pay gap
debunked, my
exists.
friend.
It doesn't.
that's so funny.
It's the industries that women pick.
Yeah.
There's a pay gap, but it's because women don't want to do the hardest industries.
I don't think it's that simple. I think that's an oversimplification. I think the fact of the matter is that women structure their lives differently to men. Men don't give birth. Men don't have to carry pregnancies. Men don't have to be the primary caregiver most of the time. Women also don't hold jobs for as long as men do. They often will stop and start. They'll go back into work. They'll take time off. They'll take part-time jobs. The way that men work and women work are astronomically different. And to try to say that they're comparable is where this issue comes from. They're not.
This is just straight facts right now out of this lady. I don't know her name. I'm not sure they introduced her at the start, but I think she's making a lot of good points.
Comparable.
Two things. First of all, let's dig into why they think that they should take these jobs, which is societal sexism. And then also, Department of Labor, all statistics, at least speaking in the US, have found that when compared for the same jobs, there still is a pay gap, particularly when it pertains to race.
Because 60% of women have never asked for a raise. So how can you complain about your pay if you don't ask?
Why are they not asking?
Wait, what happens when women ask for a raise?
Sure.
It's getting kind of hard to watch with all of them talking at once. And I understand that they all really want to exude their opinion, but that's not how you have a debate. Just everybody yelling at the same time. That's not accomplishing anything.
I've been wanting to say something, but I want to be respectful. I don't want to interrupt people, and I want to let them finish their thoughts.
Jump in,
But it is a very privileged label, right, to be able to say that you're feminist, right? And I say that because I come from a working class background of Dominican immigrant parents. My mother would not necessarily identify as a feminist. I look to my mother, and I do think of her as a feminist. A lot of my ideas and my empowerment comes from.
I'm liking her so far. I mean, she's kind of on the opposite end, but at least she's speaking of experience, and she's making a lot more sense than some of the others who are feminists.
I'm seeing her survive and put food on the table. When I'm thinking about feminism, I'm always thinking about who's
And
not.
I'm sorry to pause it so much, but her mother was probably impacted by women having less rights because, again, that was kind of further back. I'm not exactly sure the dates, but yeah, her mom was probably impacted by women having less rights. Now, I'm not sure what year specifically women had less rights and they weren't allowed to go to school. I'm not sure the specific year, but I'm sure her mom was impacted by that to some degree.
Not part of the conversation. What are the barriers? How do we think about equity? How do we think about self-empowerment and agency and having a voice, right? And having choice and thinking about our basic human rights, education, access to health, homes, having bread.
And I agree, folks. I believe that women should have all the same rights as men, but I feel modern day feminism is pushing for women to have more rights than men. You guys see where I'm going here?
Having food, and those things are very important, right? And they're at the crux, right, of what a lot of us here know that we need. It's there are the barriers, right, that we constantly ignore that are very much systemic and microaggressive, right? We see them and experience them every day.
Like what in the U.S.?
So,
like what?
What would you like to know an example of?
I know you said that there's barriers. I want to know what barriers in the U.S. today as a woman.
Well, as a woman or as a woman of color? Let's be specific.
As a woman. I said as a woman.
Well, no, I can't answer as a woman.
I just feel like your question is kind of hostile when you're like, there are no barriers to what I want. Congratulations. That means you have a privilege where you're not facing any friction, and that's showing. And I feel like it's
I think as an American, you're very privileged.
I'm not ignoring that.
We're at a basic level of what the feminist movement is when it comes to just being born a woman, right? Physically, pound for pound, we are born as women and we have less lean muscle mass than men. So there are issues of violence and assault and stuff like that. And so therefore, there are policies, there are things to help women physically, like, for example, I believe being able to carry a firearm and being able to use that safely to defend yourself against men who are born naturally with more muscle mass than a woman.
I keep hearing the term equity. What would a world that has equity look like? Would it be?
All right, folks, this video is getting really long. We're already at 15 minutes in recording. I'm just going to play a little bit longer, then we'll cut it off here, and we'll have a part 2 maybe in the future. If this video does well, we'll have a part 2. If this video flops, then maybe not.
Would it be 50% of everyone in the same jobs? Would it be like prison, 50%?
That's equality.
50%. So,
Yeah,
so what does equity look like?
So equity is generally described as a state of fairness because historically a lot of people have been arguing for equality, but what does that give us? Like 0.5 of the 1% being women, this doesn't really do anything for us. And so people have talked about equity instead, which is instead of sameness, it's fairness. And this would mean that we remove systemic barriers to engage in society, not just for women, but also for everyone.
So which barriers?
Those barriers that you
so-
don't believe in.
I do. Go
For
on.
you to
answering
have a bunch of
question.
ramps in your life. It doesn't do shit. I need those ramps, right?
Can we stick to male versus female? That's my question. So I'm thinking male versus female.
But my
So
feminism includes ability, it includes
but my
race.
question is
You
for
guys
women.
can talk.
Women
You can talk.
versus men. Like what barriers do we need removed?
Yeah, like they keep bringing in other things like race and disabilities. This woman right here is just trying to argue like what differences are between men and women. That's simply all she's asking. She's not asking what differences between men and colored women or men and women with disabilities. But I don't know, it seems she's not really having much success in getting a straight answer.
That's my statement. I'm not stating anything else. I'm stating women versus men.
It's very silly.
Like so
It's
what
extreme.
barrier?
Why is
I
it
just
silly?
want to.
The question
It's a
is
fair
silly.
question.
So, yeah, but I'm
It's
saying,
not a fair question. It's
how is it
hostile.
not a fair question?
That was a
Proving the point
hostile.
of why what people, especially black women, other people who are anybody who's not white, why we hear feminism and we don't want that label because it means, I'm just gonna say, it means that. Like it means that you've already gotten to a pinnacle of whatever you think your happiness needs or whatever your survivalist needs are when there are people on lower end who are trying to survive, who are trying to get to a point of what should be normal based on what other people have.
It sort of sounds like you're saying feminism is not always inclusive then.
Right. It's most of the time it's not inclusive. It's more times than not. It's not. So and within the just feminism space, again, there obviously the very basic is male versus female versus, but unfortunately, we've only had one subset of women be the face and voice and the academics and research and everything to be able to say, well, that's the standard we need to be in, when there are other people who are still trying to get to some type of normalcy and just living.
What is the biggest issue then that feminism faces?
I think it's the mindset. Women taking like the agency, women taking initiative. I think it's mindset holding them back a lot, because if you want to be in a competitive world and compete, you have to have the right mindset. And I think a lot of people blame their lack of confidence or what society tells them for the reason they're not achieving what they need to achieve, when that's not the case. You have to have the mindset of achieving, because the men who built the world had the mindset of building it. So the women who want to engage and build that further, they need to have that same mindset.
And we'll end it there, folks. I think that was also an awesome argument that she just made. So let me know your guys' thoughts down below in the comments. Should I do a part 2? We will see how this video does. Like this video, share this video, all that good stuff. I'm just going to do a little summary. I believe some of the women in this video were kind of hostile with their opinions. Like the women with no legs, she seemed kind of condescending. But again, I don't really have like a huge opinion on this issue like some people do. Of course, there's other people who are more outspoken on these topics, but I kind of just wanted to play this for you guys and let you guys decide on your own. Of course, I gave like a little bit of my opinion, but not really. It's more so just for you guys to kind of see what you like and what you agree with. So let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if I should do a part 2, and subscribe to my channel. See you guys in the next one.